Hello there YouTube, it's your Bobby30, back with another kicking graphic novel review. Today we are looking at Lock and Key, Volume 1, Welcome to Lovecraft. I've been wanting to read this for a very, very long time. I really wanted to read this horror comic. There is a Netflix show based on it. I have not seen the show. To be honest, I don't really care to see the show, even though I really liked this book. But I would want to read this before watching the show anyways. So, let me read the back of the book here for ya. Acclaimed suspense novelist and New York Times best-selling author Joe Hill creates an all-new story of dark fantasy and wonder. Written by Hill and featuring artwork from Gabriel Rodriguez, Lock and Key tells of Key House, an unlikely New England mansion, with fantastic doors that transform all who dare to walk through them, and home to a hate-filled and relentless creature that will not rest until its forces open the most terrible door of them all. Lock and Key creator Hill is a past recipient of the Bram Stoker Award, the World Fantasy Award, the International Thriller Award, and the Sidney J. Bounds Best Newcomer Award. All very high praises, especially that Bram Stoker Award, you know? This collection of the first Lock and Key storyline features an introduction by Robert Crace, author of the best-selling Elvis, Cole, and novels. Yeah, but it's a very interesting book. It truly is. And I really like the art. The art has a very unique feel to it that I feel like captures a lot of... It's just that there's very emotional faces on everyone, very big expressive faces. I like the colors, how they're kind of like muted, but there is color there. You know what I mean? It starts off with these two students of a high school that come to see the school counselor after school hours. And they're actually going on a murdering spree. They've killed a couple people already, have them in the back of their truck. They're there to kill more people. Or so we think, you know? And this man and his wife have 3 kids. A teenage daughter, who's the middle child, a teenage son, who's the oldest, and then a young son, who is the youngest. Yeah, and this oldest son is very rebellious, and the daughter seems to be relatively rebellious, but not as much as the son. The son is kind of that teenage, I hate my dad, but not for any real reason, just because I'm a teenager kind of phase, you know? But then, he comes up to the house, and he kind of... he said he'd kill to get back to San Francisco, that he'd do anything to get back to San Francisco. He doesn't want to be out here fixing up this old house. And then when he says that, like, is right when his dad gets brutally murdered by these 2 guys. At the funeral, there's all this awkward stuff with these people talking to him, and the people seem to almost be selfish in a lot of ways when they speak to him. Not entirely. Not entirely, but he remembers, like, these old things his dad used to say about Key House. Like, when his dad was sober, he just remembered it being a house. But when he was drunk, he kind of remembers the mystical stuff. Because the house kind of... Once you're an adult, it makes you forget all the magical stuff from it. Which is very interesting. It's just a way of defending itself. But there are... And this is... You know, it's this horror book. It's pretty obviously going to have, like, gore and death and stuff. I don't feel like I super need to give trigger warnings for that, but listen here. It does have implications of rape. You don't see it happen, but it is there. And that does make me super uncomfortable. I can't read a book where you see it happen. Like, if I knew that was going to be in Invincible, I probably would have avoided that book for a while. But I'm glad I didn't, because Invincible ended up being incredible. But yeah, there is implication of rape in this book, and we see that these kids and their mom actually fought off these killers, killed one of them, and then the other stayed alive. The more screwed up one seems to be alive, and then, you know, the son kind of has a level of survivor guilt, but he also feels bad about what he did to survive. Like, he nearly beat this guy his age to death with a brick, and he feels bad about that. And a lot of people might not, but he does feel bad about that. You know? So, they end up in Key House. They go to live with his uncle there. And, the killer that we have, this serial killer, is talking to this woman in, like, his sink in this juvenile detention place. And it seems like she told him to do all this. She's going to help him escape. The youngest son finds a key. And when you open a door with this key, you leave your body. You basically astral project. Your body dies, and it doesn't start decomposing, it seems. Like you're not losing brain cells. But you leave it. You leave your body. And you can just kind of float around, be a ghost, do all kinds of stuff. The family as a whole is dealing with a lot emotionally. There's a lot about their past. There's a woman, and it does appear to be the same woman, living in a well, and she's trying to manipulate the youngest child into helping set her free. She can escape the well itself, but if she leaves the well house, it'll basically, like, obliterate her soul or something. And she just wants to be able to leave. So she gives, this killer the means to escape his prison, and he comes for them. He wants to finish the job, but he also wants to get the specific magical keys needed to set this entity free. So they do have to fight this guy again. We see just an insane amount of character development from a lot of different people, and this is just volume 1. So I'm very interested to see where all of this goes. We find out that this killer was heavily abused by his parents, and so that made him easy molding for this supernatural entity, and he's just going on a killing spree. Like, he is killing as many people as he can find an excuse to, it seems like, to get himself back to this family. And it's just super dramatic, I'm trying to describe it without giving too many spoilerinos. There are spoilers in this review, obviously, but, this entity does end up escaping and using more magical keys to kind of hide their appearance and become someone else in order to get more evil shenanigans done at Key House. But there's this big mystery about the dad's past and what he did to this entity to trap it in the well and whatnot. But his dad couldn't remember because Key House took the memories away. So there's this specific key that they're looking for, and they seem to be in pretty unlikely places. But that's it. I don't want to tell you too much more. Locke and Key is an incredible book. I think it deserved a TV show. I haven't heard anyone say that show was good. I think it was originally supposed to be an HBO show maybe, and then Netflix picked it up. I don't know. But, Joe Hill and Gabriel Rodriguez did an excellent job. I think IDW released this book. Whatever. It's excellent. I can't wait to read Volume 2 Head Games. I'll get around to it eventually. Locke and Key also has crossovers with the Sandman universe, which I'll eventually check out. I also need to catch up on some Sandman stuff. Have I reviewed the first volume of Sandman yet? If not, I need to hop on that. But that is it. Thank you all very much for your support. Remember to rate, comment, and subscribe. Check out all the cool links in the description below, Facebook, Twitter, etc. And I'll be seeing you all, you guessed it, next time. Bye for now.